In an intercepted conversation, a Bryansk resident described heavy Russian losses near Kupyansk, noting that their people go but no one returns. He's at the front lines. He can't from there. Last time he was on the front lines for almost 2 months. There are horrors there. It's a meat grinder, Nadia. It's not what they write and show here. It's far from the truth. No, Nadia. We don't know. We don't know what's going on there. Who was in the rear? He was in the rear for some time. It's not like that there. There he could get in touch. It's not as scary there. But he doesn't have that. He said, all our guys who go to the fight, none come back from there. They lie there dead. Everything is drenched in blood. Everything is drenched in blood and bones. In January, Ukrainian Unmanned Systems Forces Regiment Birds of Magyar crews hit or destroyed 4,387 Russian targets, including 1,298 personnel. Magyar reports that by March, 100 more crews will be trained, meaning even more losses for the Russians. Ukraine's Vampire heavy bomber drone known as the Baba Yaga, now also on fiber optics.
The Bimbalot carries 25 kilograms. Most importantly, control and video are transmitted via fiber optic cable. And do you know what that means? It means there will be even more roasted dudes, and there will be even more hits. But meanwhile, the only problem is being resolved. Right now, the last test flights before the combat trials are taking place. The problem is that you can't break it like this. The only way to break this line is to fold it into a ring like this. Oops, and it breaks. See? Once more, oops, and it gently breaks like this here. Will I get shocked? No, because I've already broken it, so it won't shock. It's okay that I tore the fiber, all for victory. Let's go, let's work. We'll buy a new reel. They are not that expensive. Boom! What we are sketchily hitting. Wow. Oh, look at how many beats they've planted.
Last night, a mobile fire team from the National Guard's Steel Border Brigade destroyed a Shahed drone in the Sumy direction. At night and in the morning, Russia struck Ukraine with a big combined drone and missile attack. Lots were taken down, but there is significant damage. Russia used 7 Iskander MKN-23 ballistic missiles, 7 Iskander-K cruise missiles, 8 Kh-22-32 cruise missiles, 4 caliber cruise missiles, 8 Kot-101/55 cruise missiles, 10 Kot-59/69 cruise missiles, 2 Kot-31P anti-aircraft missiles, and 123 Shahed drones. They shot down 56 Shahed drones and suppressed another 61 with electronic warfare means. Also significant part of the missiles were shot down or didn't reach their intended targets, although this time no exact numbers were provided. A Kh-22 hit a residential building in Poltava, while ballistic missiles destroyed the historical center in Odessa. Border guards from the Heart Assault Brigade struck Russian positions in the Vovchansk direction. Using mortars and strike drones, they destroyed a truck, 2 BTR-80s, and communication equipment. As of late 2024, Vovchansk, a town in Kharkiv Oblast, near the Russian border, has experienced significant destruction due to ongoing military conflict. Analyses indicate that nearly 80% of the town's buildings have been either destroyed or damaged by Russian attacks. Heavy fighting has persisted in and around Vovchansk. In September 2024, Ukrainian forces recaptured the Vovchansk aggregate plant after intense combat, including hand-to-hand fighting, resulting in the death of several dozen Russian personnel and the capture of 20 others. Trump's team has a reliable plan to end hostilities and start Russia-Ukraine peace talks, says U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg. He believes a ceasefire could be reached within months, not years. The U.S. may pressure both Moscow and Kyiv while offering incentives to both sides.
Look, what we see out there and what's happened before with the previous administration, when they had a strategy of as long as it takes as much as it takes, that's really not a strategy, it's a bumper sticker. But when you look at this, let's use the sanctions as a great example, the recent sanctions. If you go on a gradient of 1 to 10, 10 being the toughest, 1 being the easiest, I think that when it comes to the sanctions, we're probably only at a 6. But the enforcement's only about a 3. For example, we have sanctioned the Ghost Fleet, not just by the fleet, but actually by the hulls, the ships themselves. And yet we've really not addressed that because that's carrying almost 70% of the oil, the illicit oil that's going overseas from Russia. That's where they get their money. It's petrodollars. These are the kind of things we're looking at, talking about how do we apply pressures not only to the Russians and incentives as well, but also to the Ukrainians. We're going to give them incentives and pressure points as well and give the President of the United States leverage to complete that. And that's what we're doing and going through the process, talking about it, getting the team on board.
So let me just read between the lines here. It's possible that you're going to enforce the sanctions more that are already in place, or maybe add more? And is it possible that the weapons are still going to flow to Ukraine in the short term?
I would say that's up to the President of the United States, what he is going to do. That's his call. But I think most people should be very comfortable in the fact that he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows where to apply pressure, where not to apply pressure, but more importantly, that he will create leverage, and leverage both with the Ukrainians and the Russians. And you can read between the lines on that is how, in fact, you create leverage. He's a great deal maker. He knows that. He knows how to apply leverage. And that's one of the things we are talking about with him and giving him the options to do what he wants to do as president.
But you've been around the block, Jim. I mean, do you think this is months? What do you think this is?
I would like to say it's months, but it's not years. I'm talking about, I'd like to think that we could have something in the short term. What I mean by the short term, I've said this before on one of your programs, on one of the Fox programs. I'd like to see a countdown from 100 days back and figure out where we're at, either ceasefire or permanent peace. And I think it's all in the art of the doable. But this is not going to be sort of like we saw in Afghanistan, which was 4 years. It's not a cottage industry. It's got to be something short term for both nations, but not only just for both nations. It's good for the United States. It's good for the world as well. If we can stop this fight, stop the killing, which has been horrific, and stop the destruction of the Ukrainian cities. Look, when you look at cities in Ukraine like Mariupol, a city the size of Denver and or Atlanta proper, it's a totally destroyed city of 500,000. When you look at the deaths, when you count the deaths of the military, of the Ukrainian and the Russian, and then you add that with the wounded, you're talking over 1 million soldiers killed or wounded in action. Those are horrific numbers. Those are World War II level numbers. And I think the president has the right. It's time to stop it. It's time to stop the killing. It's time to come down for peace on both sides. And I think it's going to be important. It's important for the world. It's important for the region. And it's important for us as the United States and our national interests as well.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.